She thought she was teaching someone a lesson. Little did she know that slap would erase her entire career. The sharp sound echoed through the upscale boutique. A slap, hard, square on the face, no warning. Amara froze, eyes wide, her purse dropped. A silver card spun across the floor. Amara Morgan. The crowd went silent. A whisper cut through. Wait, Elias Morgan's wife? No one moved. Only eyes, phones, shock. Veronica was still catching her breath. Her hand trembled, but her lips curled ever so slightly. She didn't know. In 30 minutes, that slap would come back to destroy her entire life. Think a slap is just anger? Look closer. Behind it lies power, reputation, and a downfall no one can stop. Amara wasn't born into luxury. She grew up in a tin-roof home beside the train tracks. Every night, the screech of metal wheels was her lullaby. Her mother worked 2 jobs. Her father died when she was 8. Amara walked over a mile to school in borrowed shoes and worn shirts, but she never missed a day. Graduated with honors, no scholarship. She studied at night, tutored kids, sent applications everywhere, 17 rejections. The 18th? A small organization finally said yes. Her hands shook as she held her first tuition check. Years later, she founded Dignity Scholars, a scholarship fund for kids just like she once was. Not everyone is born with opportunity, but some will create it at any cost. Amara stood in front of the mirror. The white silk gown hugged her figure softly. A subtle slit, a silver wedding ring gleaming against deep brown skin. She smiled, not for beauty, but for how far she'd come. She turned to Mallory, the boutique manager. "This dress? It's for tonight's gala. We're announcing the new scholarship class." Her voice was gentle but firm. A young clerk whispered, "That's Amara. She spoke at the Civil Rights Summit last year." No one looked at her like a celebrity. They looked at her like someone they could trust. Amara walked slowly down the boutique hall, fingers grazing the hem of her gown. This wasn't a lady's dress, it was armor, for someone who'd once stepped out from life's cracks. Veronica sat in her car, staring at her phone. 12 unanswered emails, 3 investor rejections, a bank debt reminder. She clenched her purse strap, veins taut in her fingers. The penthouse was 1 signature away from foreclosure. Her team was down to 2. The company account on alert status. 1 hope left, Morgan Global. If she could lock this PR deal, she'd buy 6 more months. If not, everything crumbles. She glanced at the pitch deck one last time. Her reflection in the rearview mirror looked pale, worn. She once shaped luxury brands. Now she sat here, in an old suit, scraping the last of her lipstick, waiting for a meeting, and her last chance not to disappear. Amara's phone lit up. The message read, "Be there in 2. Don't pick the blue dress. You shine brightest in white. Sender, Elias M." She smiled, tucked the phone into her purse, fingers tracing the gown's edge like someone was watching her from afar. Elsewhere, Elias Morgan exited a boardroom. His watch clicked softly. Right on time. No assistant, no bodyguards, just car keys and his phone wallpaper, a wedding photo from Ghana, where Amara once taught. The tech mogul rarely appeared in public, but for one person, he was never late, the only one he didn't see as an asset, just his wife, the one who taught him how to stand on the right side, even if it meant standing against the entire industry. Veronica rushed into the boutique, heels tapping against the cold stone floor, her proposal folder pressed tightly under one arm. At the entrance, Amara turned to leave. They collided. Not hard, but enough to slip Amara's bag off her shoulder. Veronica frowned. Her eyes scanned Amara from head to toe. A pause. Amara spoke softly. "Sorry, I didn't see you." Veronica said nothing, just smirked. "It's fine. I guess anyone can walk into this place now." Amara looked at her, didn't speak, just nodded and stepped aside. Behind her, Veronica glanced back. Her eyes gave it away. Irritation. No apology, just an unnecessary comment, and a look that said, "You don't belong." Veronica stood behind the glass counter. Her eyes never left the dark-skinned woman trying on dresses across the room. Silk gown, Dior bag. Staff gathered around her with genuine smiles. She caught a glimpse of a platinum card as Amara opened her wallet. The name engraved. No doubt, a VIP client. Veronica clenched her purse. A voice echoed in her mind. Women like her never used to even step in here. Now she's picking dresses before I do? She glanced at the proposal still in her hand. The edge wrinkled. After carrying the whole agency for years. Now she stood behind someone like that? Envy doesn't always speak. Sometimes it just stares. Too long. Too silent. Veronica walked over, pretending to browse. Her fingers brushed a gown on display. Eyes slid sideways to Amara. She said casually, "This one's limited edition. Costs more than a few years of a teacher's salary." A beat. "People like you probably didn't buy it yourself, did you?" Amara met her gaze. No flinch, no frown, just a calm reply. "You're wrong." The air shifted. Mallory, the manager, turned slightly. An employee paused mid-shoe stacking. No words, but the room was listening now. Veronica still smiled, but her lips had stiffened. Her hand gripped the dress fabric. For the first time, she felt out of place, and that was unbearable. "You really bought it?" Veronica laughed, voice sharper now. "Or did your husband gift it? Or maybe someone wanted you to look like a lady, easier to control that way." Amara said nothing. She adjusted the dress strap, eyes steady. No raised voice, no exit. Veronica stepped closer. "Ah, must be your new skill set. Majored in pride, graduated in borrowed prestige." A boutique staff member glanced up. A young woman pulled out her phone, hit record. Another customer followed suit. The cameras rolled. The room fell silent. No footsteps, no chatter, just tight breaths and loaded glances. Mara tightened her purse strap. She knew. She couldn't explode, not here, not in front of those flashing lenses. Veronica sneered, voice cool and sharp. "You really think you belong here?" Not a shout, but loud enough for 3 rows of customers to hear. A pause, then a soft chuckle, not from Amara. Someone to her right, annoyed. Amara lifted her head. Same gaze, no fear, just clarity, resolve. "Where I belong is for me to decide." She said it quietly. The air trembled. A customer shook her head, whispered, That's discrimination, isn't it?" The cameras didn't stop. Veronica didn't notice, but the crowd had started choosing sides. "So, here's a question for you. If it were you, in that room, surrounded by judgment and insult, how would you respond?" Amara pulled out her phone. Her fingers moved fast. A message sent, "Come quickly, there's a situation." She slipped the phone back into her purse, posture steady. No complaints, no retreat. Veronica saw it. Her eyes flicked to the screen. Her face dropped, then tightened again. "Oh, calling your husband?" she said, loud enough. "Can't stand on your own without someone backing you up?" Amara said nothing. One hand rested gently on the edge of the table. She took a deep breath, held it, released, not a single word. The crowd began to murmur. Some looked at Veronica, uneasy. A man muttered, "That woman's been nothing but calm, and the other one keeps pushing." Sometimes calm is the scariest thing. The quieter you are, the more they unravel. Without warning, Veronica lunged forward. She grabbed the phone lying on the table. A sharp clack cut the air. The phone hit the glass, screen face down, and slid a few inches. "You don't need to call anyone," Veronica snapped, voice no longer controlled. "This isn't the place for drama." Amara froze. Not from fear, but from shock. She looked down at the phone, then up, still silent. Veronica exhaled hard. Her lips tightened as if realizing she'd lost control. The crowd shifted. Someone pulled out their phone. A voice whispered, "She's going too far now." Amara's silence shifted the balance. The villain had exposed herself. No one needed to call it out. She'd just torn off her own mask. Mallory rushed over. Her face tensed as she spotted the phone, its screen slightly cracked. Her voice stayed level. "What's going on here?" Veronica spoke first. Too fast. Eyes wide, playing the victim. "She insulted me first. I tried to speak calmly and she exploded. Through her phone." Amara stayed still. No interruption, no protest. Mallory glanced at Amara, then back to Veronica. No one could tell what really happened. But the atmosphere was shifting. A customer whispered, "Wait, I saw it the other way around." Confusion rippled through the room. Phones were still recording, but Mallory couldn't see that. A fog of doubt was spreading, and anyone who breathed it risked losing sight of the truth. The cracked phone buzzed softly. Its damaged screen lit up with a short text. "I love you. I'm on my way." Amara looked down. Her eyes softened. A small smile touched her lips, not to provoke, just to feel safe, even in a room gone cold. Veronica saw it, and it made her blood rise. A black woman, publicly insulted, humiliated, still smiling, still loved, still standing. Veronica's fists clenched. Her voice rose. "Who do you think you are, standing there like you own everything?" The crowd flinched. Mallory turned. No one understood how a single smile could push someone to the edge. Smack. The sound of skin meeting skin echoed, sharp, unmistakable. Amara's head tilted slightly. Her hair fell to one side, her left cheek glowed red. No one reacted in time. No scream, no warning. Veronica stood still, palm raised, chest heaving, eyes wide. A second passed. Then phones went up. One person hit record, another followed. No words, just silence, burning into pixels. Amara blinked. No tears, no retreat. She lifted her hand, gently touched her burning cheek. Inside the boutique, time froze. Every person stood still, as if waiting for a verdict. Not for the woman who was slapped, but for the one who hit her. In public, in front of everyone, right when words turned to violence. A young woman near the dress rack stood holding her phone. She paused, stared closely at Amara's face. Her eyes widened, her lips parted. "Wait, she's—" The words caught in her throat, then burst out, "That's Amara Morgan!" A ripple of silence swept across the boutique. The person filming froze. A boutique staffer took a step back. A man quickly lowered his phone and whispered, "Elias Morgan's wife, founder of Dignity Scholars." The energy shifted, from suspicion to shock, from silence to confusion. Veronica took half a step back. Her hands trembled, and, for the first time, she felt fear, not from the slap she delivered, but from the name that was just spoken, a name powerful enough to change everything. Veronica stood frozen as every eye turned to her. Her face paled. She couldn't look away from Amara. Her lips moved, but no words came. I didn't know." Her voice trembled. Gone was the woman who slapped. "I didn't mean to. I didn't—" A boutique employee stepped away from her. Mallory looked around, confused, catching the eyes of the customers still recording. Everything spun around Veronica. Amara didn't speak. She stood still, hand lightly touching her cheek, silent, but heavier than any excuse Veronica could offer. Veronica stepped back again. Her purse almost slipped from her hand. She glanced around, searching for someone to defend her. No one did. Only one truth remained. She had just slapped the wife of the most powerful man she ever pitched to. The boutique door opened. A soft sound, but enough to turn every head. Elias Morgan walked in. No security, no announcement. Just his tall frame, a gray shirt, and eyes locked on one thing. He scanned the room, stopped. The slap on Amara's cheek glowed under the lights. Elias moved forward, slowly, his eyes never leaving that mark. No one dared move. Veronica stood stiff, her breath short. She knew who he was, and worse, what she had just done. Amara looked up, met her husband's eyes. No words needed. Elias never looked at Veronica. He just walked forward, each step dragging the weight of an empire. He didn't have to say anything. His presence alone was a judgment unfolding. Elias stood beside Amara. He didn't ask if she was okay. He didn't need to. His gaze shifted slowly to Veronica. His voice was low, calm, but it filled the room. "You raised your hand against the woman I love?" No rage, just a silence that demanded accountability. Veronica froze. Her lips moved, but no sound came. She tried to speak. Nothing came out. Elias leaned slightly forward. "Here, in front of everyone?" A pause. "You thought there'd be no consequences?" A customer shuddered. A boutique employee quietly turned off her phone, but didn't look away. Amara didn't look at Veronica. She just placed her hand on her husband's, gently. No need to hide. Because in that moment, protection had a name, and it had arrived. Elias didn't break eye contact with Veronica. He lifted a hand to his ear, touching a nearly invisible earpiece. "Caleb," he said smoothly, "cancel all contracts with Hale PR." A pause. "Send the video to every media outlet, both the raw and edited versions." No clarification needed, just a quiet, understood came through. Veronica stood paralyzed. She had heard it all, every word, project, video, press. Each one drained the oxygen from her lungs. Elias stepped back once. No yelling, no drama. Because for a tech titan, media isn't just a tool, it's a weapon. And once it's activated, there's no taking it back. It all started with a slap, and now it begins with a shutdown. Less than 5 minutes later, major news outlets updated their front pages. CEO Veronica Hale assaults billionaire Amara Morgan's wife at upscale boutique. The video played. The slap. Amara's face. Unedited sound. Crystal clear. Twitter erupted in under 3 minutes. 1 million views within 18 minutes. Veronica Hale, a #1, trending nationwide. Justice for Amara surged like a tidal wave. One comment under the video reached 50K likes in under an hour. If she weren't a billionaire's wife, would anyone have spoken up? Veronica sat in her car as her phone buzzed nonstop. Every screen light brought a new hit. Another client pulled out. Another investor walked away. Another hateful comment. The world may ignore you when you rise, but when you fall, everyone watches, records, remembers. How long before she loses everything? Comment below. We've all seen this story play out before. 9:00 a.m. Hale PR stock plummeted from 31.4 to 12.6 within 3 hours of trading. An email came in from the bank. Credit line suspended until further notice. The largest client, Bellington Media, pulled all campaigns. 3 more dropped contracts that morning. The company website crashed under the weight of public comments. Veronica sat at her desk, eyes wide, heartbeat chaotic. Her hands shook too much to hold a coffee cup. The media doesn't have to destroy you. It only needs to reveal you at the right moment. The rest? Society handles it. A personal mistake becomes a systemic collapse. Dominoes don't wait. They just need one hard enough push. And this time, it was Veronica who pushed. 2 officers stepped into the boutique. Calm voices, but firm. We received a report of a physical assault on site. One pointed to Amara. Mrs. Amara Morgan, would you like to press charges? Amara raised her head. Her voice wasn't loud, but every word landed like stone. I do. Full charges. To the fullest extent of the law. The air held its breath. Veronica swayed. Her hand clenched the edge of her purse, face draining of color. Elias stood beside Amara. Said nothing. Didn't need to. Because in this moment, Amara didn't need defense. She wasn't a victim needing rescue. She was the one demanding justice. Direct, clear, unafraid. Not because she held power, but because she held truth. And this time, she chose not to let it slide. Veronica stumbled forward. Her knees hit the boutique floor. Her purse fell open, papers scattering. Please. Her voice cracked, hoarse. I have a child. I've lost everything. My company, my home. I'm begging you. She fully knelt, hands gripping the counter edge. Her eyes glazed. Everything. Pride, envy, pretense, collapsed in a single motion. Elias didn't bend. He looked at her, voice low. You should have thought of that. Before the slap. No one defended her. No one looked away. The most humiliating moment was the one she created herself, in a place built for beauty. She showed the ugliest version of herself. Elias stood still, watching Veronica kneel. No mockery, no pity. He touched his earpiece again, voice deep and calm. Caleb, send the full internal discrimination file from Hale PR to the authorities. Include all staff complaints from the past 3 years. Silence followed. No one dared breathe. Amara looked up at him. No nod. They understood each other. Veronica lifted her face, pale as ash. She shook her head, stammering, No, how do you know that? Elias didn't answer. Because the truth is, he'd always known. He just waited for the moment to expose a rotten system. One slap, seemingly small, had pulled the curtain on an entire machine. When villains lose control, they reveal everything behind them. The sound of metal snapped in the silent air. An officer knelt and clasped silver handcuffs around Veronica's wrists. She didn't resist. She sat frozen, as if even she couldn't believe this was real. Phones were up. No one shouted. No one laughed. Only the glow of screens and the soft click of record. A middle-aged woman whispered to her friend, her career, dead in 30 minutes. no blood, no bruises, but those cuffs were heavy, heavy with judgment, heavy with exposure. Amara stood nearby. No smirk, no retreat. She hadn't won anything. She simply let justice do its job. And today, it did. In the very place people came to shop for dresses. The courtroom was packed. Media cameras in every corner. Veronica sat behind the defendant's table. Pale, eyes dull, all fire gone. The judge read the sentence. 18 months in jail and $1 million in damages for emotional and reputational harm. Silence fell. Amara rose, stepped to the microphone. She didn't look at Veronica. She spoke to the court, and to everyone watching. I don't want money. I want change. Not for me. For the ones who come after me, who shouldn't need a powerful husband just to be respected. No applause, but the entire room fell silent. Because justice wasn't the slapback. It was the reckoning. Soft, but strong enough to shake a society. 2 weeks after the trial, Amara Morgan stood at a small press conference. No flashy backdrop, just a simple sign. Dignity Defense Initiative. He spoke clearly, each word deliberate. We're committing $50 million to support legal, medical, and media aid for victims of racial, gender, and social identity discrimination. No roaring applause, just faces in the crowd, moved, seen, grateful. Amara wasn't there, but a message was read at the end. No one should need status to be treated right. If I have a voice, it must speak for those who never had one. A wound didn't just heal. It became fire. Warm enough for others still trembling in silence. Amara stood at center stage, a vast auditorium before her, millions watching behind screens. No notes, no headset, just a woman, who was once slapped. She looked straight ahead, voice clear. I was slapped for my skin color. I was once asked if I belonged in places like this. Pause. Today, I stand here not just for me. I stand for the thousands like me, mocked, doubted, silenced. I stand to say dignity is not a request and justice doesn't ask permission. No one clapped, but tears were wiped, notes taken, hearts changed. No need to shout, no need to name the guilty, just to stand tall, and the world listens. If one day you see someone insulted for the color of their skin, if a slap falls, not because they were wrong, but because they were different, what will you do? Stay silent? Stand aside? Or speak up? Amara wasn't the first, and won't be the last. But she chose not to stay silent. She stood, not for revenge, but to clear a path for those long forced into the shadows. No wealth, no power required, just the courage to say, I matter. I stand with Amara, and you, if you believe in that, share this story. Follow us to keep the truth moving forward. We don't need many voices, just one, at the right time.